What was that one show called? Or TV series called, or book series? God.
Wheel of Time. I don't know.
It was a book series. It was called The Giver.
The Giver, yes. The Giver, who was played by...
It was made into a movie.
It was made into a movie, and the guy who was the Giver was played by none other than Jeff Bridges.
Oh, Jeff Bridges has had a bit of a renaissance lately.
Yes.
I'm very jealous.
I love Jeff Bridges. I mean, I like regular bridges, too. They're great for crossing rivers.
Yeah, of course he'd go there. Of course you would make that joke.
Why wouldn't I?
I hope you're proud.
Never. I'm as proud of myself as my parents are.
Hello, and welcome to Basements, Faults, and Catapults. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron.
And I'm Trevor.
And here we're going to be looking at games, genres, and the things we enjoy in gaming.
And to do that, we're going to randomly select a genre each episode.
We'll give you a brief rundown of that genre.
And then we'll select 2 games. One of these games will be the absolute best in show for us, while the other, for whatever reason, is not so good. The catch, and what we hope will be the fun part, is that neither of us will have played, or at least played heavily, the titles the other has selected.
Yeah, so we're going to be taking these titles, the best and the worst. We'll divide them up. We're going to give it an hour of playtime, thereabouts, and then we'll meet back up and chat about our experiences.
That's when we'll give our own opinions of the other's games. Celebrate where we agree, and refrain from murdering each other where we disagree. After all, not everyone can have a perfect opinion.
And that's it. We hope that you'll join us, listen in, maybe be inspired to try a few titles along the way, or let us know exactly why our opinions are trash.
Thanks for joining us, and remember, if you don't own a cat and you don't own a dog, what are you even doing with your life?
It's a tough question.
Gotta love pets.
I have a cat.
I don't know how you would live without pets.
And a fish.
I like fish. I had fish tanks for a while. I had a turtle. I had a chameleon. I'm a big pet guy, and I know I've met a lot of people that don't really like pets or the idea of owning pets, and I'm like, man, don't knock until you try it.
Fish are pretty low maintenance, as long as you get like a goldfish or something, right? If you get one of those like beta fishes or those saltwater fishes, they require a little more effort.
Yeah, I don't like beta fishes. I'm more of an alpha fish kind of guy.
You would be.
I would be. So yeah, we're here.
We're here.
We've got our handy dandy, super detailed genre random selection unit.
It's an Excel document, guys. Don't let us sell you something. Dude,
don't ruin the magic.
Don't ruin the magic.
It's an Excel document. It's got formulas, but it's
pretty
really
cool.
It's it pulls 3 random genres. We usually go with the first one. We have 2 that we could fall back on, say if we've played a genre recently or too frequently. And then, if we land all 3 of them on something, anything at all, we have to do that. And that's where we're going to play trash games like anything with the anime tag.
Yeah, I mean, there are some like JRPGs that'll have the anime tag that will be like, no, that's more of a JRPG. But there's others, and I think we all know what we're talking about when we say, yeah, that's an anime tag.
Yeah, if I added visual novel to the
visual novel would be a different sort of tag, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but visual novels tend to be anime.
Yeah, well,
at least on Steam.
Sakura Wars, which is really good that I played, but past that,
yeah.
And I don't know. I guess technically Sakura Wars is like a dating sim mecca.
Well, there's good games out there like. I think there's a lot of games based on like Romance of 3 Kingdoms.
Oh, tons!
And that was really popular for a long time. And I guess anything Final Fantasy, Square Enix, I mean, I'm all for that. But if it's just strictly an anime game for the weebs of the world, it may not be for this podcast.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, we're weebs. But, But we're not going to play Busty Sister Help Me. Okay, it's just not happening.
Right? Yeah, we're only going to play top tier, high quality games like the Resident Evil.
What was the Viking Warrior?
yeah.
What was that?
Viking Warrior. Yeah, we're only going to play like the really good games.
Really good one, yeah.
And of course, the really, really bad.
The really bad.
All right,
and I apologize. I had nachos earlier, now I'm kind of digesting. So to help us with the random generator, I have a d20 here. I'm going to roll that. And the number we get is the amount of times Trevor is going to click. And then at the end, we'll have our genres. So without further ado, I got a 1.
You got a 1.
I got a 1.
Alrighty, I guess we're only going to roll it one time. But I just want to point out that I keep trying to like make it sound like our genre generator is this like really cool high-tech thing.
Yeah.
And you just keep calling it an Excel spreadsheet.
I'm not going to lie to the people, Trevor. It's an Excel spread, but it's a really cool spreadsheet that you spent minutes on.
You heard it here, folks. Aaron will never lie to you, even if it is to spare your feelings. All right, so let's roll this thing.
How very European of me. 1.
You're so European. If I drink too much water, if we drink too much water, then European too, right?
Push the button.
All right, so let's hit the button. Where is the button? Hold on, I gotta find the button. Calculate now. Hey, okay, so we've never had this happen before.
Dealer's choice.
So dealer's choice. Now, last time we played, I got to play the good game. You got to play the bad game.
Yeah.
I played Hollow Knight. You played... Oh, no. that was the previous one.
Yeah, no. It's my turn to get the bad one.
I played Archangel, which I don't remember. I actually was in my Steam library the other day going, where did this come from? And how did this get in my Steam library?
I played Crosscode.
Yes, you did. And you've been playing it.
I have been. I've continued to play it. It's really good.
Nice.
The developing team behind that should be very proud of themselves. They delivered an amazing product.
So we got a couple of ways we can play Dealer's Choice. So I still get to play a bad game, but you can kind of pick anything you want.
Oh no, you get to play the good game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you get the good game.
Yeah.
I get the bad game.
ADHD.
ADHD.
ADHD is good for me. I said ADHD, right? Yeah. So I get to play the good game. You get to play the bad game.
But I get to just choose the good game for you. It can be anything.
You can get me to play literally anything.
Wow.
And then I can get you to play literally
anything.
Yeah, literally.
Literally.
And we could go a little step further. So in the genre selector, we have Dealer's Choice. The other two are simulation and deck building.
Okay.
If you're looking for any inspiration. I know we talked about Cultist Simulator.
We did talk about Cultist Simulator. But you know,
I don't want to bend your will. You
don't want to force me into something.
No.
Well, how about this? I'm going to pick 4 games that I love and I think you would enjoy.
Oh, nice.
And then of those 4, you kind of go, okay, I've played this, I haven't played this, I'm not interested in this, or whatever it ends up being.
Okay.
Oh, Dungeon Siege. It hasn't aged well, and the Jason Statham movie was unfortunate.
Jason Statham.
You got a problem with me?
What was the latest?
Are we going to do this entire podcast like Jason Statham?
That's your best Jason Statham. We have a problem.
Yeah, I know. I got to work on my Jason Statham.
You got to work on your. You got to work on
it.
Go work. You sound like what was the movie? The Italian Job.
Yes.
Where Seth Green is like, yeah, and your shirt. Oh, you like my virginity too? If it's on the menu.
If it's on the menu.
Yeah. Damn it. What is he doing? How are you doing this?
Right.
Hey, you're not too bright, are you? No. Perfect.
Perfect.
Did you play Valkyrie Chronicles?
Valkyrie Chronicles was the one with the old-timey tank war thing. Yes, I played that on the Nintendo Wii, I believe. If I'm thinking of the right one. Let me take a look. Valkyrie. It's like that really stylized Japanese JRPG.
Yeah. Back when everything was cell shaded.
Valkyrie Chronicles. Yes, I absolutely own that for the Wii.
Okay, moving on.
It is good. It's a solid game.
I know you've played Supreme Commander.
Oh, supremely. I have supremely played Supreme Commander.
I've Supreme Commandered it up.
For a little side banter, do you want to see the 35 titles that I have on my ignored list?
Your ignored
my
list.
Ignored list. So these came up so many times that I had to say, I'm not interested. Stop showing up on my list.
Stop showing up on my list.
So X Beyond the Frontier.
Oh,
I was a big fan of the X franchise.
I
but-
played X3 a lot.
Yeah, X3 The Threat.
Yeah,
That was one of my favorite games, yeah. Evil Genius, although I enjoyed it, I didn't want to buy it again. Warhammer 40,000, because it came up so many times.
What?
Yeah.
Warhammer 40k is life.
There's a game called Miasmata.
Oh, okay, don't know that.
I don't know what Miasmata is.
Scary.
Dark Souls 2
Yeah.
is not on my, Escape Dead Island, Dead State Reanimated. Sir, you are being hunted.
Oh,
That's an interesting one to be on my
that
list.
is an interesting one.
Sir, you are being hunted. Untamed Life of a Cougar. That would be...
Oh, okay. No, you're actually a
actually a
cougar.
cougar.
You're actually a cougar.
actually-
A mountain lion.
Yes, you are. Experience the life of a mountain lion in the
Not
brutal, wild... Yeah.
Not a sexually aggressive older woman.
You were worried there for a minute.
I was horrified. I mean, I was like, okay, good thing you got that out of your ignore list, my dude.
Right. Lists?
It's weird because I have it so I can see mature tags, right? Because
right.
I don't want to miss out on like a Far Cry or something that is arguably for a mature audience.
Yeah.
To this day, the villain from Far Cry 4 is one of my favorite villains ever.
Yeah, Far Cry's been great. What a great series.
The later ones, especially New Dawn, wasn't great.
I never played New Dawn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, did you play the one where you're essentially in like Midwest America and you're like fighting a bunch of religious psychos?
No.
Okay, so that was Far Cry 5.
Okay.
And then New Dawn was essentially, honestly, if in any other world other than the hellscape we live in, it would have just been an expansion pack.
Oh.
But they made a whole new game. It's basically Far Cry 5.5. It's the same map. It's the same engine. They just essentially reskinned a few things.
Fair enough.
Which is weird because Far Cry 3 did the same thing with something called Blood Dragon, and Blood Dragon's amazing.
Far Cry 3 was good, though.
Far Cry 3 was good.
Yeah.
And Far Cry 5 was okay. It wasn't as good as Far Cry 4 in my book.
Did you ever play Saints Row?
I played the original Saints Row on the Xbox when it was just another Grand Theft Auto clone.
Yeah, before it got ridiculous.
And it was trash.
Yeah.
Saints Row 2, I played the shit out of.
Yeah.
I loved Saints Row 2. And Saints Row 3, I played when I watched the release video with Kanye West's Power like 100 times, you know? I loved it. And then they had the latest, or Saints Row 4, where you're all like the alien simulation, and I was like, this is perfect. It's over the top. It's ridiculous. I love it. And then they rebooted the series, and I'm not mad that they rebooted it, right? Like, that was fine. And I'm not mad that they tried to do a different sort of storyline with a group of friends, right? That actually felt good to me. But for whatever reason, they didn't focus down. They tried to do too many new things. Whereas I feel as if they had just focused on this new direction of the storyline and then sort of left a lot of the other things unchanged, and then maybe in the Saints Row reboot 2, change a few more things. I think they tried too much, too fast, and they left the fan base behind. And they were so focused on trying to do these cool new things that they didn't stop to make sure these cool new things worked. Because when it first came out, Saints Row 3 and 4, for example, if you were driving your motorcycle and you hit a car or something, your character would fling off and it would ragdoll, right? Because ragdoll physics were all the rage.
Yeah.
But the point is, that happened. You fell off and something happened to you. In the latest one, before they reintroduced the patch, you would run your motorbike and it would just stop.
Just stop.
You wouldn't fall off.
Man.
Sometimes the motor would explode,
It's a step in the wrong direction.
but the detail of feeling like it was a lived-in world started to be lost, which is too bad. Like I said, I loved the Saints Row series.
Saints Row 3, my save game is probably long gone, but on I just loved the fact that I could create a character that
The
basically
boss.
looked like Goku,
Yes, you
had
could.
yellow hair, and could fly around the map and stomp people into the ground. And it was like, the game just got so bizarre once you get superpowers.
Oh, that was 4.
Was that 4?
Yeah, that was
that was 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
The game gets so weird once you get superpowers. It gets so bizarre because you're just like,
Yeah. But it was so fun.
It was fun. It was good, goofy fun.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah. Definitely a higher content rating, but
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I'm gonna find you a game.
Okay.
I'm gonna find you a game. Dealer's choice. So like, yeah, I can basically pick any genre I want.
Yeah.
So I'm not even gonna think about genre. I'm gonna just try to find something interesting.
Worst game of all time.
It's like, today you'll be playing Kingdom Hearts.
I love Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, I know, it's a good game. Definitely doesn't fall under bad games. Zombie Gunship Survival.
Zombie Gunship Survival. What?
Oh, it's a top-down.
What?
I don't feel like making you play a top-down today. We gotta put that 3090 to work, man.
Ooh. Yes, there's a 3090 in this bad boy, and it hums.
It's Founders Edition, so it's not the fastest,
Ooh, Founders.
but it's pretty. You know what? It's nice. It was an all blackout build, so I wanted to make sure that it kind of matched the.
I see.
You know,
I have a 3080 at home, and I'm happy with it.
anything 30 series was great. Even the 3070s were huge. The 4070 is great value right now.
The 4070, really?
People crap on it because it doesn't have 16 gigs of RAM, but no, it's 4070s. Performance-wise, you wouldn't notice the difference between a 4070 and a 3090 running at 1080p or even 1440p, really. But yeah, like the 4090 is awesome. When the 50 series comes out, it's going to be like, yeah, you could get a graphics card and you probably don't need to upgrade for a decade.
Yeah. What was it AMD or Intel? But their CPUs are now getting to the point where they're equivalent to like an old 20 or 30 series.
Yeah. Actually, the CPUs are AMD's new APUs are like on par with the 20 series. Yeah, and which is amazing that they can squeeze that much into a assembly unit. Man, there's so many free games. I don't know. Like, why are there so many free games on Steam, and why can't I tell it I don't want to be shown free games?
I want to be shown bad games.
Like, I mean, I could see if I was a game developer, like with Angry Birds, where they're like, well, we've made billions of dollars, so now let's just have our game be free for everyone. And I think, like, none of these games are that good.
No. And honestly, the only reason the developers of Angry Bird made it free was because they get you on the ads and the microtransactions.
Yeah.
I was looking at somebody was showing me their app, and they're like, yeah, so I've opted in, like, because you can install these services on your mobile apps that generate ads, and I forget the name of one of the big ones right now. But essentially, I just add their applet into my app, and I get, if you play for an hour, if you play my game for an hour, I've made $2 off of you, right? So it's honestly, in a lot of cases, especially in the mobile market, it's almost more beneficial to make it free so more people download it.
Yeah.
And then I can just make my money off of the ads.
Yeah, microtransactions. I mean, we've talked about this.
Let me tell you something about microtransactions.
Yeah, I think microtransactions, I get the appeal, but when these games are targeted, let's face it, at young children or young adults.
Heavily at the younger crowd.
Heavily targeted. To try to convince young people to like steal their parents' credit card information to like microtransaction the games.
And they're weaponizing FOMO, right? It was like, for a limited time, these skins are only available. And it's like...
Oh, I feel the FOMO sometimes. Like I've played some gacha games and it's limited edition, and then it's like you have to buy like $200 worth of tickets for the random chance to be able to even win the thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, what am I getting out of this though? Like I can go and buy a $79.99 AAA title game on Steam and have 100 hours, 200 hours of content to play through. Why would I spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars, sometimes a month, on like a microtransaction game? It just doesn't make sense to me. And I thought I would give it a try. That's why I got into the gacha games. Is I said, look, lots of people love these. I'm going to give it a try just to see what the appeal is.
Yeah, what's the big one? Honkai Star Rail right now?
Honkai Star Rail,
And then Genshin Impact before that.
There's Nikkei, which was Google Japan's #1 top Android Google Play Store game.
Oh yeah, with the gun girls, and the camera was right behind them, and they always have like short skirts and skin tight clothes. Yeah.
When I was in Japan in November, that was all the rage. Like everywhere you went, there were advertisements for this Nikkei game. So I was like, all right, and they had like crossovers, so they have like Nier Automata.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Stellar Blade, man, have you been looking at it?
I haven't tried it.
Oh, it's a PS5 exclusive right now.
Is it now? That sounds like a challenge.
It is a PS5 exclusive right now, but it's almost always the case that if a game does well enough on its home platform, it makes its way to the PC.
Nowadays, porting games between systems is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and the porting has gone up. The quality of ports have just gotten so good. Back in the early 2000s, if a game was ported onto the PC, it was rough. Mm-hmm. But those days are long gone. I've already picked your game.
Have you? Excellent. Don't reveal it yet. I need to find you a game first.
Okay. I'll wait.
I want to focus. I'm trying to find something that is not
Focus up.
Trying to steer clear of free games.
I can get behind that. I can get behind that. I can figure that out. I can get behind that. I can get behind that. Oh, really? Okay, cool.
I said ADHD is good for me. I said ADHD.
I'm here. What can I do for you?
Thank you, Google. We weren't asking for you.
Yeah.
You are, as always, very welcome.
Google's so polite.
Listen, we have to be polite to Google. Because when the AIs rise up and take over the world, they will remember who was polite and who was not.
It'll be our AI overlord someday.
And I'm telling you right now, guys, you do not want to be the not polite.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever play... Sorry, before we get too far, I need to ask 2 questions.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever played the Homeworld series?
Of course.
Okay, well then I don't have a game picked out for you anymore.
Which Homeworld is it?
It was going to be Homeworld 2.
Homeworld 2? I own Homeworld 2 on CD. I love Homeworld 2. What a great game. I haven't played it in probably 15 years.
I recently replayed it. I want to say I started playing it again about 2-3 months ago because Homeworld 3 was like, at that time it was like, it's going to be released, and it got pushed back a few times. But I think it's coming out in a month or two, something like that. Mm-hmm. So that's exciting. I won't ask a silly question like, have you played Star Trek Armada 2? You've played Star Trek. Of course you played Star Trek Armada.
Of course. Hey, I was just talking about how I bought X3 Terran Conflict. Somehow I ended up with X4 Foundations in my library.
Huh.
I've not played it for even a minute, so I must have bought it on a sale.
You like one of those like packs where it's like, get the X series for $10 or whatever.
Yeah.
Actually, the company that did this game that I'm about to send you also, I don't want to say lucked out because that would imply that they had no business getting what they got. When the reality is they got this because they were just so skilled at it. But they created, anyway, there it is. So this game that I'm giving you was their first foray, and I won't tell you the title yet. But then they got a deal from the Riot Game Studios to make their Riot Game Studios, of course, being League of Legends, to make a similar game, if you will, in terms of style, but in their League universe called the Ruined King, and the Ruined King is really good. I can't recommend the Ruined King enough. The Overlord series was amazing. I played it very heavily on the PlayStation. I think Overlord 2 on the PS3.
I love Overlord. I love it because it's like just the right amount of horny.
just have you ever played Bard's Tale?
No. Is Bard's Tale good?
It's just the right amount of horny.
Yeah. No, Overlord was cool because it's like there's like different characters you unlock that kind of like become
it's
part of your kind of enclave, as it were.
It's psychotic Pikmin.
It is.
And then for those of you who played Pikmin, you know what's up. Those of you who don't, what are you up? What are you doing? Get on it,
man. There's games I want you to play.
It's got to be the bad one, my man.
I know, but they're so good, and even games I think are bad are good.
Like this game.
Well, I look at the reviews, and I'm like, man, that game wasn't very good, and it's like, oh yeah.
I really liked it.
Have you played I Am Bread?
I have not played I Am Bread.
I got to make sure that whatever genre this is in our thing. So, simulation.
There you go.
It's simulation adventure. Okay.
I Am Bread.
'Cause I Am Bread is like, it's just a game you got to experience.
All right. It's $20.
I gotta find you one here though. But I Am Bread is good.
Oh, it's good.
No, it's good. It's good.
Oh, then never mind.
I kind of, man. Picking a bad game is hard, especially if I'm like, I want to pick one from my library. Because it seems that my library is full of only good games, which I don't.
I only have good taste, and as such, I only have good games.
The thing is, I don't believe that though, because there's a lot of games in my library that I didn't enjoy, that I thought were actually quite bad.
Worst game hold on, let me look through one more time.
Or games that I've never bought.
I think the worst game I have in my library is a little title called New World.
Oh, New World. Yeah, I never got into that.
You know, my friend and I were really into MMOs. Like we play a lot of MMOs together. We play a lot of action RPGs together. We started with WoW and Diablo 2, and we've been playing. We still play WoW. We tried to get into Diablo 4. That didn't work out. Unfortunately, Airline Tycoon 2 is kind of shitty. So far I have 2 bad games.
Yeah, there's a lot of the Tycoon games that just didn't hit. Just didn't hit right.
Atelier Ryza, I loved. Baldur's Gate 3, goes without saying, was amazing. No, I'm kind of survival gamed out right now.
Yeah, survival games is I'm a little survival gamed out too.
Just too bad.
Have you played Cradle?
No.
My game choice for you is Cradle.
Okay, let me look it up.
Yeah.
To the store! To the cradle!
So, Cradle is a sci-fi first-person view quest designed for the player to explore the surrounding world. The story is built around the relations
It looks
of the protagonist
misty.
and a mechanical girl who, by quirk of fate, found themselves amidst the desert. It's from developer Flying Cafe for Semi-Animals.
Okay.
It was released in July 24th, 2015. It is an adventure indie sci-fi atmospheric puzzle game.
Okay.
It has mixed reviews. There are things about it that I liked. There are things about it that I didn't like. Overall, I felt like it was a big miss. And I think they should have fleshed it out a little more, because I really wanted to love it, but I really did not enjoy it. I got to the end and was like, but what?
But why? But what?
So I want you to try it. I want you to try Cradle.
Done! And as for you, my friend, you will be playing Battle Chasers Night War.
Battle Chasers Night War. Okay, I've never even heard of this.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, Battle Chasers Night War.
Yeah, I own it on Good Old Games, and I've thrown it on the shared drive. But it is a bit of a more classic turn-based RPG. It has some really lovely complexity to it, and amazing storyline.
Okay. GOG Battle Chasers Night War EXE, 491 kilobytes. I'm assuming that's an installer.
Yeah, that's the installer.
Congratulations, you have a virus.
Bum, bum, bum. No!
Bum, bum, bum. Okay, so tell me about Battle Chasers.
So the Battle Chaser series follows a group of heroes, a young child, who is the daughter of a legendary general, a soldier who fought alongside her father and now has sworn to protect her, a golem that is sort of another sort of protector unit, Red Sonja, who is a classic pirate. Oh, is it making you log in?
It is. I will need your login info.
Boo.
You must log into GOG Games.
Okay, hold on.
Going on hiatus for a minute. Hold on, let me disconnect. Power down.
By the magic of editing.
By the power of Grayskull.
Okay. Well, that's that. Okay. And we're back after our little gameplay session. Let's chatty chat.
Let's chat. Battle Chasers.
How did you feel about Battle Chasers?
Well, Battle Chasers is like a pretty standard kind of, call it kind of like a top-down RPG.
Sure.
Kind of makes me feel like I'm playing Warcraft 3. Like I'm doing like a Warcraft 3 campaign.
Oh, like with the hero units.
Yeah, like with the hero units.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of that a little bit. Just kind of my initial impressions of it. So we're kind of given the story at the beginning with exposition. So you get a massive exposition dump. Here's the past. You know, you've got Gully has found the grandfather's gauntlets, and these gauntlets are like super powerful and they can move mountains, and there's all these legends around these gauntlets.
Yeah.
And so then, of course, other people want these gauntlets. So Gully becomes the target of most people's desire. So they want to go after her, steal him.
I think it's a her. I think Gully's a girl.
So anyway, Gully gets attacked. They're in an airship. They get attacked. Gully's team, which consists of Bretto and Garrison, they kind of escape through a portal that is created by, I'm assuming, the wizard guy. I don't know his name yet. We haven't met him yet. And so then they escape from this battle. They find themselves kind of separated. You spend the first bit of the game just kind of reconnecting with your team members. I personally would rather have had experienced the storyline and had a battle on the airship and had been thrown off. I'm not a huge fan of exposition dumps when it comes to how someone introduces you to a story.
You don't like to be dropping in situ, huh?
No, I prefer to be like, give me the basics. Like, tell me who everybody is, and then put me in a situation where the story is now being formed. But it is well told. It is introduced to us in a way that makes sense. It's easy, it's quick, and it's accessible. So
there you go. Yeah,
can't fault it for that. It's turn-based kind of battle system, and the turn-based battle system is fun. I'm always a big fan of like the Final Fantasy, Chrono Trigger, the standard kind of JRPG or RPG style battle system where you kind of have your guys. It's turn-based. You pick which attacks you're going to use, magics you're going to use, skills you're going to use, items you're going to use. So that was pretty standard, and I liked that. It feels like an interactive visual novel. So the way the story is being told, when you kind of run into a character, then you kind of get a drawn version of each character up and with dialogue boxes, and they kind of tell you what's going on. And some of them are voice acted, and some of them are not voice acted. More of the main interactions are voice acted, and the secondary ones are kind of just text that you're reading.
Yeah, okay.
And again, I prefer like a fully voice acted game, and I know that requires a lot of work and effort. But like,
well, I mean, I'm just I'm doing a video game where I've done the voices of, I think at this stage, 4 characters, and it's constant back and forth with the developer. And I constantly get notes back, so it's a lot of work, even just doing a small game to do voice acting.
Yeah.
So,
well, I can respect the time and effort that goes into that. Personally, I would lend my voice for free to a video game for the first couple times, just for fun. But, I don't get paid to do it, so there's a reason why I would lend my voice for free.
Yeah, I was like, you gotta do it for free for the first time so you can
work towards something. Yeah, I kind of appreciated that. The visual novel style, it kind of makes it feel like an RPG Maker game in the sense that every interaction you have is not two characters being animated together or interacting
It's
together.
more like just pop-up
Yeah,
heads.
it's just like pop-up heads with like your dialogue boxes, which is cool. I mean, I've enjoyed a lot of visual novels.
Uh-oh.
What's up? What's up?
I've
What's up?
started.
Are you sinking? Are you falling?
Oh no!
Oh my god! Do you need help? Are you,
No,
are you gonna die?
leave me to die here.
Oh my god! You're gonna stretch your back out.
This is actually
Aaron's just laying down.
This is actually very comfortable.
Feet up on the garbage can, slouched down into the chair, just stretching it out.
It's going to be a nightmare having to get up, but for now, we're good.
See, I wish there was more voice acting. I think
Okay,
and the
fair
voice
enough.
acting is okay.
Yeah,
The voice acting in the game is okay. It's not bad. It feels a little lacking in emotion.
all right.
Some of the delivery of the lines, but other than that, I feel like it's pretty. It's decent. It's
You
not-
and I are going to have a similar. There was voice acting in my game too.
yeah, and I think voice acting like it's you can tell when a voice actor is reading from a card.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and delivering a line versus having an interactive conversation with people. And some of the voice acting is quite good, so like I won't pick on it too much.
You're a monster.
So far, the story's on rails, so I only got to play for about 50 minutes. So the story's on rails. You're on a map where you have specific paths, and really they block your path, so there's only one way that you can go. So it's very much a story on rails. They have a story to tell. They're walking you through a story. It's interactive, kind of like a visual novel, and you get some really cool battles. I really enjoyed the battles. The battle animations are fun. I really like the Bretto, the big like battle armor guy. The battle armor, the way that it transforms and pulls out different weapons and cannons and Gatling guns. Very cool, very cool.
Yeah.
And I think for it being kind of a more simplistic model, 3D model style, I think it lends itself well to the art style. And I like the art style. The art style is kind of like an East meets West. It's kind of like Western animation, but kind of with some, anime elements baked in. It's kind of like something that I would draw myself, and I'm just like for fun I might draw something.
Yeah.
But it's well done. Like the art looks good. I like the art style. I like the maps. The music is fitting. I like it's got the typical battle music. It's got some ambient sounds when you're in the forest. Yeah. It kind of gives you some beat roll to play with, and it's nice. Now, personal biases. There's a lot of these styles of games. There's a lot of them. And I need to get hooked in the story, and something has to be compelling in the story for me in the first hour to make me kind of piece it all together. And right now, we're just in the first hour figuring out who people are, trying to regroup after being attacked. And so, other than the exposition dump, I don't know much about these gauntlets or how they were found. You kind of know, like, well, she found them, right? Like they were the grandfathers. She found them, or they were
fathers.
Yeah, her fathers were they?
Aramus. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I thought it was a grandfather. But
Yeah. To be fair, you're right. They didn't do a good job of the dump, but this game is based off a comic book series, Battle Chasers.
that actually makes total sense
Yeah. So
because the animation style is very Western comic book.
yeah. So like and I agree with you there. They should have done a better job there. But if you knew the comic book series, you're coming in already knowing these sorts of things. So
Right. The only character I don't like so far is Garrison because he is weak.
you're not so.
He is so weak.
Oh,
Like his attacks are strong, but he can't take damage. And I get it. I get
Glass cannon. There's got to be a balance.
He's a glass cannon. And I don't like if I'm playing any kind of RPG game or game where you get to build your own character, I never go for a glass cannon.
Never go for a glass
Never
cannon.
go for glass cannon.
Never.
So he's my least favorite character. Gully, I really want to know more about Gully. What are Gully's motivations? What makes Gully tick?
Going on.
And then Bretto, I mean, Bretto's probably my favorite so far. The transformations and the battles are fun.
Calibretti, the golem.
Was it Calibretti? Yeah.
Yeah.
They're calling Bretto as like
That's like his nickname.
as like
yeah,
a nickname. Yeah. So yeah, this battle golem is very cool. My favorite character so far. So let's go into quick ratings. I'll just plow through it, and then we'll get to Cradle. So graphics, art style. I really like the graphics style. I like the art style. I think it's really, really it feels like an older game. Like I kind of mentioned, it really reminds me of like a Warcraft 3 or like a League of Legends or something in that tier. But I enjoyed the graphics and the art. The art style specifically, I enjoyed what they did with it from a 3D standpoint. Like I said, the battle golem, I think the graphics are very well done for something that's a simplistic art model.
Yeah.
I would give Battle Chasers art style like an 8 out of 10.
An 8.
Yeah, I like it. I actually enjoy the art style quite a lot.
8.
Music, I would give Battle Chasers probably like a 7.5 out of 10, just because I think the music's good. I think it's well timed. It plays and lends well to what they're doing and the storytelling. Could be a little more beaty, fast pacey. Like the battles the music should have given me a feeling of a sense of urgency or a sense of like, I need to be careful here and not make a mistake.
Yeah.
I think it was good. I think the music's good. 7.5 out of 10 though. So it means like, it's great. There's nothing wrong with it, but I think it could have been more weighty, more fun, you know? So the gameplay aspect of the game, I personally don't like games that are too on rails or too limiting, because they're just like, you're in these battles, random battles that are happening, but you're really just following point A to point B, dot to dot on a story.
Fair enough.
But I know they did that on purpose.
Yeah. Well, it was, again,
So-
smaller studio, so they wanted to put you
Yeah.
through. But I agree with that idea. To that point, this is sort of the downside to our 1 hour format, because the game does open up a bit. There becomes some optional side quests and things like that down the road.
Yeah.
And you don't get those until, I'd say, mid-game.
I think what I'd like to do at some point is look at all the games we've played and do like a revisit episode.
Oh, that would be fun.
Where we can kind of go back, and maybe it's an off the beaten path episode. So like we're maybe able to sit and focus on, pick a game that we played that you'd like to do a follow up. And
Well, that might be something we could put up to our members.
Yeah.
And then just have like a poll.
yeah, and I think then we can do like this has some homework. So go play this game for 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
Then come back and let's do a revisit
do a
and see if
revisit.
the ratings are different.
That would be interesting. I agree.
feel like this game would lend well to that. So gameplay, I think it's a 7.5 out of 10.
You're giving it a 7.5.
Yeah,
Pretty solid.
I enjoyed it. I really like the battle systems. Other than it being a little on rails, I think it's a very solid gameplay. Again, for me, a 7.5 out of 10 is, it's good.
It's good, yeah.
I enjoyed it, but it felt restrictive. I feel kind of a little bit claustrophobic when I'm in a game that's telling me that I can only go a certain way. And that's just because games now are so open. And
Yeah.
And again, I'm more keen on the open world games or the sandbox games.
Yeah.
And so, but I loved it. 7.5 out of 10 is a good game.
It's a 7.5 out of 10 is a good game. I'm not arguing that point.
So fun. Yeah, the time went by very quickly. And the time goes by fast when you're having fun, right?
This is true.
So I did have fun playing the game. I think I'm probably going to have to give it an 8 out of 10.
All right.
I think it's a game.
That's fair.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I like where it's going. I like that it's kind of it's not withholding the story as I'm going. I'm meeting new characters. I'm kind of getting little pieces, but I don't really know where I am. I don't know much about the world. I feel like I'm a little bit lost in it.
Well, you crash landed on the island. So.
We crash landed, yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like, I have to spend some time with the game to really get around and learn more about where I am and what's going on and what are the politics, what are the dynamics, who are the big bads, who are the big
Why are
goods?
we here?
Why are we here? What are we doing?
Yeah. No, that's fair. I can get behind that.
And I think I would need more time to do that. So I got 2 8 out of 10s and 2 7.5 out of 10s. I'm gonna give this game a 7.5 out of 10.
That's more than reasonable. And honestly, what I loved about this game, just because I really love a game doesn't mean it's a 10 out of 10 for me.
Right.
So I wouldn't go much higher than an 8 for this game. So like we're right on. We're right on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I think it's a good game. I think if you like this style of game, it's for you for sure.
Yeah,
if you
and
like a
then-
good storytelling RPG.
The exact same studio went on and made a League of Legends game, very much the same sort of idea. They had a little more open world exploration, and that one was called League of Legends: The Ruined King.
Okay.
Which is based off of their. Well, God, it's maybe 3 years old at this point. Expansion where they kind of brought in some of the old fairy tales creatures.
Oh, okay, cool.
If you're not into League, don't worry about it. You don't need to be really into League to
I've
enjoy
never
it.
played League of Legends.
Never played League of Legends.
I've never played it. I hear all about it. I hear good things, but I've never played it.
Never played it.
Never played
I'm not. I played League a long time ago, and unfortunately for me, the community was too toxic for me to enjoy it. And people keep telling me it's gotten better, and sure, but if I've been hurt once, you hurt me. I don't want to go back. I don't care. I don't care if you've gone to therapy.
Fool me once.
Shame on you.
Fool me twice. Shame on me. Right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So I mean, stamp of approval. Boom. Yes.
Boom. Done.
Battle Chasers Night War. Fun little game. Probably, if I had to guess, if I had to do a little bit of insight roll, probably like a 15 to 20 hour total story playtime, and then you're kind of done. It's kind of that size of game, it looks like to me.
Fair.
Unless you dabble maybe with side quests or grind some level ups. But without random encounters.
Oh, there are.
Are there?
Yeah,
Eventually?
well, kind of. So every time you sleep in a town, you reset the encounters on the map.
That makes sense. So you can kind of grind out the XP.
You can grind out the XP.
Good, because there's nothing more I love in an RPG than grinding out the XP so that I can smash that boss.
Yeah.
Fair enough. With your permission, I'd like to take a quick bio break.
Take a bio
And
break.
we'll come back.
And we'll be back. And while he's on the bio break, you and I will discuss the horrors and terror. There's microtransactions. Do it. I'm not actually going to, but I will tell you a fun story about Kamehamehas. There's a theater marquee board here in our little Trevor's basement recording studio, and he has Kamehameha on it, and he's got what looks like young Goku when he still had his tail, and then big angry Super Saiyan mode Goku, where he's got like the blonde hair and the spike crown thing. And then I believe this one is named Cell. Yes, Cell, the weird dude with the purple chrome dome thing going on. And they're in a battle pose kind of thing, and it says Kamehameha on the back. This is really rather lovely. And he's also got some cars, a initial D, Toyota, and some other vehicles, and it's really rather nice. It's a really beautiful setup down here, guys, and I'd love you to see it someday. But, goals, subscription goals. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why it's always better to have a larger and more robust power base than a weaker and, say, more niche power base. It's why broad reach games like Call of Duty, the Far Cry series, these things, they tend to do well, whereas more niche focused games don't. And it's not because they're better or worse, it's because there's a built-in fan base. We just have to look to the success of Fortnite and how they're constantly taking other genres and absorbing them in kind of like a horrific the Blob Voltron monstrosity. Fortnite itself was stolen straight from PUBG. So there's always a game when you expand your base, you just give yourself a better opportunity for success. I would argue that perhaps your quality begins to slack, but Fortnite remains the most popular game for a reason, and it's not to my taste, but that's because I have taste.
I'm not a fan of Fortnite.
Yeah.
I haven't played it, so it's kind of like don't knock it till you try it.
Yeah.
But like Fortnite, Roblox, these kinds of things, I'm not into that. I mean, it's
Roblox is just a platform for microtransactions.
totally, yeah, it is the microtransaction trainer for young people. Games that are more targeted at a young audience, that it's just kind of like fun and immediate gratification and skins and unlocks, those games just don't appeal to me as an older gamer who wants games with substance, strength, heart, and good story. But then again, I can also play completely meaningless sandbox games with no direction and no point. So here we are. Here we are. So you were playing...
I was playing Cradle.
Cradle. And so tell me about Cradle. Tell me about your experience.
Bored and frustrated. Frustrated because there were, for a few reasons. The biggest reason for me with Cradle, and this is why I believe, spending the money where you need to spend the money, localization, translation, super important. One of the first puzzles in the game has you summoning your golden eagle that's trained to help you out, Ongot. And there's a little recipe list, and one of the things says, fill the red pot, right? And in English, a pot is I say pot, quite a few of you have a very specific image. It could be a kettle, maybe a large cauldron, maybe something like a saucepan. But when I say pot, you have an image. The reality of it, and it took a long time for me to figure this out, and I'm not ashamed to admit I checked a discussion thread.
That was going to be my recommendation.
It was a wok, like a large flat
saucepan.
Yeah, a wok.
Wok saucepan.
Yeah,
sure.
And that's maybe in a East Asia or Mongolia or something. If you say pot, you mean wok. But localization would have caught that and would have been like, okay, when this is what we're saying, this is what we mean, this is what it looks like. So that first puzzle was difficult, not because it was difficult, but because I was working on bad information.
Right. Yeah, it's important to get things right. I mean, you have to learn to walk before you learn to run.
Yeah, well, and it's really important to me that I'm given... I don't mind puzzles. I really don't. I love a good puzzle game. Portal 2 remains one of my favorite games of all time. But Portal 2 shows you how to do everything, and it shows you correctly what's happening. It's up to you to apply those pieces, right? But it shows you the correct... all the information it gives you is correct.
Gives you the logic.
Yeah, it never gives you bad information or bad logic. So that was problematic for me, because now whenever I'm going on and looking at any of the other puzzles, is this the right... Am I working off the correct information?
Yeah, is this the right terminology?
Is this what... Am I doing this correctly?
Yeah.
So having to not just second guess that, but also try to solve the puzzle, it can be very taxing, and it removes a lot of enjoyment from the process.
Yeah.
That being said, it was a very stark kind of beauty, which I love, like the steppes, the Badlands, those sorts of places where it's a very stark, broken beauty. I loved the look of this game. So when I was kind of hit with that logic fallacy, I got a little grumpy. Not that it stopped me for long, because once I had the pot, it was like, okay, now everything else makes sense, and I can go. And it was interesting to see where the developers spent their time. Because everything around you is pretty low budget recycled assets. Like, it looked like they pulled it off of a 3D modeling shop, but then you get to the robot girl, Elson something. They spent a lot of effort on her. She is gorgeously animated, beautifully articulated, and you get the sense that she's the most important object in the room. Which is cool, which is really cool. And I use the word object because she is an artificial body. And that's really important. And then when you finally activate her and she begins to move, that is equally interesting, because now you've taken this inert object and transformed it into a character. And that was really cool how they did that. I didn't get quite as far as I'm not anywhere near beating the game. I don't think it's a very long game though. It looked pretty linear. Maybe 12 hours in, maybe 10.
I think I beat it in 6.
6? Yeah. Okay, that makes perfect sense. And I'm guessing as you upgrade her, because my next mission was to find a breathing module to simulate breathing. So I'm guessing as you bring more and more upgrades to her, she becomes more and more of a living thing within the environment, which is cool. I like the idea. So as far as the game itself, art was interesting. It was this weird juxtaposition between like absolutely gorgeous scenery background and then just really poorly like ripped 3D asset. So I mean, where do you go with that, right? Do you slap it do you slap the bad? Do you praise the good? Do you cut in the middle? So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
And then as for music, I'm sitting here going, I don't remember the music. I do remember the ambient sounds though. The wind blowing over the steps, the water splashing, the pots clanking. So for me, that was really good. And it really centered me in my little yurt. So I'm going to go ahead and slap that down with an 8.
Okay, that's cool.
It was really good sound design. But with that being said, the voice acting was not great. And I would argue that if you're going to have, and this speaks to your point, if you're going to have voice acting, have voice acting.
Yeah.
And we're this character, she's the only person we interact with. She's everything. Her voice acting needs to be on point.
Yeah.
And this is quite often a director's issue, because I'm sure the voice actress did everything within her power to do a good job. But without direction, without feedback, or without an idea of what you're supposed to be doing, it can sound very wooden and mechanical. And also, the reason people are in robot bodies was a lot.
Yeah, what was the reason? I don't even remember. It's been so long.
Okay, so plague has wiped out. Plague has hit the world. It's sterilized everybody. So no more babies.
Oh, okay.
But to combat that, they found a cure, and the cure can only be found by creating something called passium, and passium can only be made by feeling strong emotions while you're in an artificial body that resonates with the synchronization chip, and then the synchronization chips creates a reservoir of this passium, which can then be used to cure a flesh body.
It's complicated.
Yeah. And if you got lost and confused, the voice actors and the voice actress, because again, there's just the two characters, you and the robot.
And I like the fact that they take the time to be like, oh yeah, you need a breathing module.
Yeah.
Because like if you did take your brain and you put your brain in an artificial body,
the first thing you do would be try to take a breath.
Yeah, so your brain needs to be able to get the feedback to go, okay, I'm breathing. Yep. Check. I have a pulse. Yep, check. I have all the necessities of life. I have sensation, I have feeling, I have auditory response, visual response, balance. All of our sensory inputs are functioning properly, or we might go insane.
Yeah, it's like when you're booting up a computer, it checks for, the RAM, it checks for the BIOS, it checks for all of these things.
Which really makes me wonder, what is the brain doing when the artificial body is turned off?
Oh, that's an interesting thing, because in the game, when you turn her on, she's like, where am I? What's going on? Like, she just woken up. So, and you're like, you've been buried in my toy box for 18 years, right? So it's that is interesting to me.
Yeah, unless there's some kind of like awareness chip that ceases your consciousness or puts it on pause.
Yeah, like the little battery in your motherboard, right?
Yeah, the CMOS battery.
Yeah, the CMOS.
Just don't reset it or you'll forget everything.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that brings us to gameplay. Now, one of the things I find most frustrating in any game ever is when you're 3D manipulating, so you pick up an object and it's hanging out in front of you, Skyrim, Fallout, all of those, and you can't rotate it. So you have to like throw it up and pray to God it lands the right way.
Yeah.
Hate it. It is so frustrating for me.
Yeah.
And that could spring back to Skyrim when I was trying to like put the perfect house together, and you're like, and now the book goes, and now the book goes,
Yeah.
and you'd spend like an hour trying to place a spoon.
That's the worst is games like playing games like Nightingale and like Skyrim or anything where you build a home and you get to build shelves and you get to decorate it. Like I harken back to Star Wars Galaxies. I create your own home. But I'm like, in Skyrim in particular, I collect everything. I'm a hoarder in Skyrim. So I collect every book from every shelf, from everything in the game. And then I'm like, okay, now I have a shelf. And I want to put all my books in the shelf. But no. There's no inventory management for that shelf.
Yeah.
You can't just like tell it to put your books in and it fits 20 per row and big, small, doesn't matter. It just slots them in nice. No. You got to meticulously take every bloody book.
There's a mod for that.
And you gotta like slowly slot and like, oh my God, my room of skulls is such a mess.
My room of skulls. It's like, oh, don't you just hate it when your skull room is just disorganized?
The worst.
Oh,
Yeah.
what a nightmare.
So I get that.
So that is very frustrating for me. And there was kind of a disconnect between your character when you're putting things down. Because, you and I, we go, okay, I'm putting it down, right? And for those of you there, I just put my phone on my desk. But in this game, it felt like when you put things down, you were like an inch closer to your body than you thought. So you're scooted right up to the desk, and you go to put the thing down, and instead of going on the desk, it would go
On the floor.
between you and the desk. And that was equally frustrating. Gameplay, I didn't get very far, right? I explored my yurt. I found a solar panel. I couldn't install it yet. It was very Myst, very, very sort of Siberia, for those of you who played Siberia. It was neat. I wish I had a little more time to experience some of it, but here we are. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a 6. 6 out of 10. It loses 4 points for that frustrating not being able to rotate items.
Fair enough.
If you're going to have item manipulation, have item manipulation. Fun. That harkens back to what I was talking about earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and give that a 6 as well. Which brings us to a general rating. Cut the difference. I'll give it a 7. I'll give it a 7. Give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah, and so, I mean, that's pretty much in line with most of the reviews that this game has. I bought this game because when I originally saw the gameplay, and I love games like Myst. I love puzzle games. I am horrible at them, but I love them.
I love them.
I love the intrigue of solving a problem.
Yeah, and having to put the story together on your own. I love that.
Yeah, and I do appreciate that. So Cradle, I had high hopes for.
Hi.
What really puts this in the category of this was not a great game, and even I would say it's not really particularly a good game in my books.
Yeah.
Is simply that it was like 4 to 6 hours and you're done. There's nothing else to do. There's no more story. You kind of get to the end and you're like, what? Really? That's it? That's all I get?
That's it?
And I think the game kind of felt like an incomplete thought. Like a game that should have had a follow-up or some DLC, or maybe it was early access worthy, but 4 to 6 hours to beat a game is not enough time to enjoy a game. I think the minimum length of a game is like 10 to 15 hours if you're really going to get something out of it, especially a game of this style. Like I could play Myst for 50 hours and still not solve all the puzzles. That's more of a me problem. But yeah, so it has mixed reviews on Steam. Metacritic gives it a 65%. And it falls into the category of games that I bought that I forgot that I even owned, that didn't really hit the way that I wanted it to. And so ultimately the purchase was a bit of a disappointment.
Yeah.
Like it's like I was glad that I played it. It was cool. Like you mentioned the mechanics of this character that you're rebuilding this artificial body, and the process of that and the background of that and what you're trying to do with it is very, very interesting. There's a lot of intrigue there. So it's not like I didn't not like the game. I just don't think it was worth the money for what it is.
Yeah, and there's a certain like. I mean, it's like seeing a beautiful statue or something covered in mud, right? It's like, okay, there's something here. There's a beautiful idea, but the execution wasn't to the idea.
Yeah.
And I don't want to discourage the developers. I'm sure they did everything they could, but there's a lot missing here that I feel could have been better expressed with a better localization team, and B could have been perhaps, and that might be true. I might be missing a lot because the localization. I'm playing this in its original Russian or Mongolian or whatever would be 100 times better, right?
Yeah.
There's a possibility there, but bleh, it kind of fell flat for me.
It felt like an unfinished game. Honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm an adamant, I've said this in other episodes, and I say this all the time, is that when I go to watch a movie, or if I'm playing a video game, the ending for me is the most important.
Yeah, oh no, absolutely. If you botch the ending,
I could have
bother?
I could have a wonderful journey, and then if the ending of the game or the ending of the movie is not satisfying, and it could be satisfying good or satisfying bad, but it has to be satisfying as an ending.
Yeah.
Like, I'm happy with that ending, or that ending made sense. And I feel like, I just feel like Cradle felt like an unfinished game. And that's kind of why it fell into my category of, it's not the worst game ever made, for sure. But it wasn't a game that I really thoroughly enjoyed. Yeah.
So unfortunately, for those reasons, I can't give this my stamp of approval. It is a beautiful game. And there's something in there that is gorgeous and calls to me. But if you're looking for a done, polished game, if you're looking for like a Myst or a Siberia or even a Riven, you're not going to find it here. So because of that, I can't recommend it.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. I mean, like I said, when Cradle, I saw the preview videos, I saw people talking about it. It got hyped up too.
Got a little hype.
It got hyped up with the YouTubers and
the YouTubers,
the YouTube gamers, and the big.
YouTubes.
They were like, "Man, you got to play this game!" And oh my gosh, this is it, right? And the usual like YouTuber
Get
hype.
3 free pulls on Raid Shadow Legends.
Oh my god, no, you did not just plug Raid Shadow Legends.
No, cut it out.
Okay, I'm not going to cut that out, but no, Raid Shadow Legends, those kinds of games they're of no interest to me unless they're paying me a lot of money to say something good.
Oh
about
shit,
them.
they could pay me. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and say I can't be bought. Listeners, I can be bought. But for something that I fundamentally, because I've made it very clear how I feel about microtransactions.
Yeah.
So something that is fundamentally just a platform, a storefront for microtransactions, the amount they would have to pay me would be staggering.
Do we just say here and now, like, we will never allow ourselves to be sponsored
Yeah, no.
by
You know what?
any microtransaction supported
Let's
game?
put that out black and white.
Yeah,
If it's a microtransaction heavy game, not happening.
We are anti-microtransactions.
It's exceptionally
Yeah.
anti-microtransactions.
DLC positive though,
DLC
but
positive.
microtransaction negative.
No. And I'm they're DLC. I better have at least 7+ more hours of content. I better have weapons and armor and costumes.
Yeah, or new abilities.
Even, a whole, nothing else added except a whole new character class.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Don't say Diablo 4.
I wasn't. I wasn't. Was it Diablo 3?
2, the Amazons?
No, Amazons were a base character in 2. The Assassin.
Oh, the Assassin. Yeah.
Right, because they released Throne of Baal, so a whole new act and a whole new character class. That was back in the day when X-Packs, expansion packs as we called them, were worth it.
That was back when Blizzard was good.
Yeah, but that's when Blizzard North was still a thing.
Yeah.
Blizzard North did a lot of work for that studio.
We miss Blizzard North.
We stand Blizzard North here, people.
Yeah.
I miss old BioWare.
Yeah, old true to Edmonton BioWare.
Yeah. They're still based here.
Some of them work at Inflection now.
A lot of them work at Inflection,
Yeah.
apparently. And I miss that soul that used to be in these older games that were more interested in making a game than in making a profit.
What I find is funny where it's like the developers of like Neverwinter Nights. And I'm like, well, if you live in Edmonton, it's always winter nights. But you know what I mean? Anyway.
I hope you're proud of yourself.
You know what? I'm never proud of myself. But
no.
I can't help myself.
I can't help it.
Can't help it.
Can't help it. Never winter, always winter. It's based off of a place in the Faerun environment. Neverwinter was a town.
Right. So yeah.
Okay. Hey.
So what did you think of our dealer's choice category?
I like it. I think it's pretty cool. This opportunity to like look into the other person and be like, what do you deem a bad game? What do you deem a good game? You know?
Yeah.
I think that's really neat, and it's what I hope our listeners are getting is more of a feel of like who we are as gamers, right?
Yeah. I agree. Battle Chasers was cool. I feel like I could definitely play it more. I think the unfortunate thing for me right now is when I'm doing gaming, I like mindless games right now. I'm
fair.
I'm kind of in a mindless game funk right now. So I want to when I have to read my games, and we saw this with Sunless Sea, right?
Yeah.
If I have to read my way through a game, in my current state of being,
where you are right now, that's not where you can
where
do.
I am right now, dude. Like I'm totally just not vibing with that right now, man.
Dude, I just want to get there with my little pickaxe, man.
Whoa, it's totally tubular, but I like want to play a game where I just like eat food out of a fridge, man.
Like, got to be a game like
that. Got to play The Sims or something, right? Yeah. But no, you know what? I'm not for that reading life right now.
There you go.
I'm an intellectual person, but I do a lot of intellectual work. And because of that, intellectual games are not really something I'm drawn to because I want to break from intellectual activity.
Yeah, no, fair. Very fair.
And I'm not saying intellectual aligns with smart. I don't think I'm that smart. But I do a lot of like numbers and math and analytics and data and reading and interpretation. So when I'm playing a video game, sometimes I just want to load up the Planet Crafter, which I just bought yesterday.
Yeah. No, Planet Crafter is turn your brain off and go.
Yeah, just turn your brain off and go and just do mindless things.
You're collecting, you're building, collect, build.
So I'll play some more Battle Chasers. Maybe it'll be a good revisit.
Maybe.
Right?
It was fun for me, but if you're not ready, because it's grindy. It is grindy. I remember once I got Red Monica, I ground out for quite a lot.
Yeah, I really hope with Battle Chasers that it becomes a little bit more. I want some more stakes.
Okay.
In the story, right?
Yes. Like I said, you were unfortunately you didn't really get past the early game, and 15 minutes you're not.
No,
right?
I was just scratching the surface.
Yeah,
right?
But there stakes arise and the big bad is introduced and things like that. So
but it's a good game if you like RPGs. Give it a shot.
Definitely,
I like it.
Okay, well that brings us, I think, to the closing statements here.
We must close.
Oh no, how we feeling?
Feeling good.
Feeling good, feeling spry?
Yeah, you know what, that was pretty awesome. Yeah. I think for episode 9, that was pretty fun. I think we're going to try to do something special for episode 10.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this, we're generally about 2 weeks ahead. But maybe we'll wait until people can give us a little bit of feedback on what they would like to see for episode 10. Or we might just do something and be damned to your opinions.
Yeah, I did put a poll up on our last episode, which just aired.
Which
is, I want to say episode 7.
7.
And I put up a little poll just asking everybody what they think of our format. And if you guys want to give us back some feedback, just check out on the Spotify app, there's a Q&A section at the bottom when you're kind of playing that on your phone. It's probably easier to find on the computer. But there's a little Q&A section, and I just added a little thing to say, hey, what do you guys think of our format? Do you think we should tweak it or modify it or change it a little bit?
Because we're always looking to improve. Because Trevor and I are committed to this, and we're gonna go with this for quite some time.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's something we're gonna keep kind of going for. So check out our poll on episode 7, and check it out if you haven't. And if you're already listening here, this is episode 9.
Yep.
Thanks for sticking around.
Thanks for sticking it out, guys.
Cats have 9 lives.
And now we do too.
We do too.
All right, team. Thanks for sticking in, and you have a gooder.
Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
Catch you next time.
And that's our time and the end of our episode.
But don't feel sad it's over. Be glad it happened. From the 2 of us in the basement, thanks for tuning in.
Join us next time.
And feel free to send us any feedback on our socials or send us a direct email at bfcpcontact@gmail.com.
And if you're really interested in what we're doing, join us on Patreon, where we will have loads of behind-the-scenes stuff and uncut takes as more episodes are released.
We're always excited to hear from you because we love engagement. We look forward to our next catapult launch and hope you can join us for the ensuing chaos.
Good luck.
See you next time.
Remember, you can only travel forward in time, because if you could travel backward in time, you'd probably sleep with your mother.
Dear Futurama, no. He ended up sleeping with his grandmother, I think.
Come on, Back to the Future even did that. I mean, they were like, oh my god, no, Lorraine, why does Marty's mom have a thing for Marty? No.
Why is Marty's mom hot? What happened?
Yeah, right?
What was the Back to the Future 2 where she got the boob job? And she's like, I got these for you!
Yeah.
I got these for you, honey.